If you win the morning, you win the day. Days create weeks, weeks create months, months create years, years create our life, mornings create days. Our morning routine creates the morning. Motivational quotes like that can sometimes feel kind of cringe. I get it. You know, it might make you stop and think for like a second, like, oh, win morning, win day, good. Okay, nice. But then not actually go on to make any changes to your everyday life. But that quote is one that I think we should all try to live by. I'm thinking of putting it up on my ceiling so that when I wake up and open my eyes, I automatically read it and, think twice before hitting that snooze button. The days when I actually follow my morning routine just automatically become like 50% more productive and fulfilling than the days when I don't. First off, since my morning routine has different activities that are good for my physical and mental health, I feel like if I just did my morning routine every day and nothing else, it'd still be a pretty decent day. But of course, the day is more than just the morning routine. So this morning routine also prepares my mind and body to be focused and productive throughout the entire day. Before I get into it, this is obviously not the perfect morning routine. I'm not saying that everyone should do this exact routine or even can do this exact routine. This is just what I've been doing recently to jumpstart my mornings this year. Pick and choose the parts that you might want to incorporate into your own morning routine. And if there's something that seems kind of irrelevant or it's an activity that maybe you like doing later in the day, not just in the morning, then that's completely fine too. Figure out what works best for you. However, there are certain things that I've personally found are best done specifically in the morning, and I think everyone should at least try incorporating into their morning routine. So I'll emphasize those along the way. All right, so my morning routine is kind of broken up into two parts. The first part is like my actual, first thing in the morning after I wake up routine, before I do my first deep work session, which takes me about 30 minutes. Then there's a second routine that I do a bit later in the morning as kind of a little break after my first session of deep work. So I figured I'd share that with you too. All right, part one is my wake up routine. And this usually begins with me waking up around 6 a.m. If I had an event or something special that went late the night before, I might sleep in until 7 a.m. But ideally, waking up at 6 a.m. And 6 a.m. isn't like some magical time. It's just what works best for my personal schedule and allows me to get in a solid 1 to 2 hour deep work block in before my regular commitments for the day. And that's generally what I'd recommend when trying to decide when to wake up in the morning. Basically, as early as you need to get at least 1 hour of deep focused work done before your regular commitments, school, job, whatever it is. And if you're like me and naturally not really much of a morning person, here's some tips to wake up early. Getting quality sleep is obviously the most important. I usually aim for around 8 hours of sleep. And if you think you're sleeping 8 hours and maybe turn off the lights and get in bed at 10 p.m., wake up at 6 a.m. That looks like 8 hours, but you're probably getting closer to 7 hours. And to get a full 8 hours, you really have to be in bed for around 9 hours. So that's something you need to keep in mind. You probably need to go to bed a little earlier than you think. So if you're struggling to wake up early, I would really just focus on improving your sleep. So get some earplugs, an eye mask, maybe some blackout curtains, a weighted blanket. I also got this Oura ring and I have a Whoop that helps track my sleep so I know actually how much sleep I'm getting and how different things in my life affect the quality of my sleep. When it comes to actually getting up in the morning, the biggest game changer for me has just been putting my alarm and phone across the room. So when my alarm goes off, I actually have to get up out of bed to turn it off. If you use your phone for an alarm and you keep it right by your bed and hope to wake up without snoozing your alarm, you're just not going to. So just put it across your room. There's some more tips too, but those are the main ones. And I've got a full video on my channel on how to wake up early, so you can watch that if you want. Immediately after waking up, I'll read through my Self 2.0 document. If you haven't seen my recent videos, this is something that I've been doing lately to align my mind and actions with that of the ideal version of myself who is capable of achieving all of my goals in life. I basically made this document describing in detail what the next level 2.0 version of myself would be like. And so I read through this document daily to calibrate myself to this future version of me. I don't like wasting time, especially first thing in the morning, and it takes a good amount of time to read through this thing, maybe 10 minutes or so. And so the simple fact that I have this first in my morning routine after waking up and I'm taking the time to do this shows how impactful I think this step is. I'll link my other videos on this topic in the description, but this is something that I'd recommend at least everyone try doing at some point in their day. I like to do it in the morning because I feel like I need that mental calibration as soon as I wake up. After reading through my Miles 2.0 document, I'll feel motivated and disciplined to jump straight into a cold shower. Cold exposure has loads of health benefits that I've mentioned in other videos, but you can do your own research if you want to hear an actual scientist tell you about it. But the main one for me has been the mental benefits. After doing a cold shower, especially in these winter months when the water is just really cold, it really feels like the hardest thing that I'll do all day. So once I power through that resistance to get into the cold shower, my plan for the rest of the day just seems easy. I no longer feel as much resistance to hitting a workout or doing a YouTube video or sitting down and doing focused work or anything that might have seemed kind of difficult or that I would normally procrastinate on. You also get a huge increase in your dopamine after doing a cold shower, so you just kind of feel happy after you're done. And that's a great way to start the morning, so I would definitely suggest everyone try this in their morning routine. Next up, I'll make a homemade electrolyte drink to help with my health and hydrate myself first thing in the morning. You can buy those pre-made electrolyte packs, but they're kind of expensive, and I think some of them have like some artificial sweeteners and stuff. So I've been making this homemade electrolyte elixir that I got from a video from Kyle Ram. He's got a great channel on various health things. I'll link it in the description. You should check it out. Next, I'll go outside and get some natural sunlight. If you've watched like any video really from Andrew Huberman, you've probably heard of all the loads of benefits of getting natural sunlight first thing in the morning. So I would definitely recommend everyone add it to their morning routine. I also enjoy getting some fresh air first thing in the morning, and it's been kind of cold here lately, so that sort of helps me wake up. While I'm outside drinking my electrolytes and getting that natural sunlight, I'll usually stack it with the habit of breath work. Chances are you probably aren't breathing right throughout your entire day. I know I wasn't, and I still could improve the way I breathe a lot, but I've just been using the free version of this app that I think is called Breathwork, and there's this energize routine that I've been doing, which I think is kind of like a Wim Hof style of breathwork, if you've heard of that. You can follow along with the app, but it's basically a bunch of quick breaths in a row followed by a big exhale, holding your breath, and then taking a big inhale and holding your breath again. And this just helps me feel sharp and energized, and I'm sure has other health benefits as well. Throughout the rest of the day, if I have a minute or maybe I'm feeling tired or stressed, I'll try and fit in another round of breath work. And then after that, I'll just sit down and do my first session of deep work for about 90 to 120 minutes. And during this first deep work block, I make sure to eat the frog. And this idea comes from a book by Brian Tracy called Eat That Frog. Basically, if you had to eat a live frog before every meal, you probably want to eat it first thing and get it over with so you can enjoy the rest of your meal. And the same goes for your work. You know, that most important consequential task that you're most likely to put off, that's the frog. For me lately, that has just been scripting and recording YouTube videos. All right, so if I wake up at 6 and I'm efficient with everything, I'm usually ready to sit down and work around 6:30 a.m. After my first deep work block, I'll do the next part of my routine, which is kind of like a little break or my breakfast routine, I guess. Part 2. Breakfast routine. So this time for breakfast, I'll have 2 crispy eggs, a glass of orange juice, and some supplements. So I eat kind of a light breakfast, but if you really want to maximize productivity in the morning, I would just continue working fasted all the way until lunch. I'm trying to gain a little weight, so I've been trying to have breakfast lately. While I'm cooking my eggs and eating them, I'll also do a quick morning calibration journal entry. I enjoy doing this because it also helps me get my thoughts in order for the rest of the day, and it's also kind of fun to look back, months, years from now and see what you were thinking and working on at that time. So in this journal entry, I'll write out 3 things that I'm grateful for, 3 things that would make today great. I'll list out my 3 priorities for the day. I'll also list my 2 main projects, and I actually kind of keep this as a default part of my journal template so it automatically shows up because I have a bad habit of kind of like switching my main focus too often. And so this way I kind of like have it set in stone that these are my main 2 projects that I'm focusing on. And at the end of the day, I'll come back to this journal entry and write out what went well and what didn't go well and what I'll improve on. And then finally, I'll do a quick 10-minute meditation to re-engage my focus before my next session of deep work. So hopefully you found some things that you want to incorporate into your own morning routine. Again, this is obviously not the perfect routine that everyone should do, and I'll honestly probably end up changing it in the next few months anyways, because I'm always looking to grow, optimize, improve, and question my beliefs. Comment down below what your morning routine is for this year, and maybe I can get some ideas to steal from you and add to my own morning routine. As always, do something today that your future self would thank you for.